Hello and welcome to NTD News Today. Kevin Hogan here. Let's take a look at our top stories. President Biden declaring a major federal disaster in Kentucky after a swarm of deadly tornadoes. It paves the way for additional federal aid. Devastation in Kentucky. At least 100 people are feared to be dead after tornadoes ripped through the Midwest and South. A scramble to find survivors under the rubble. Rare tornadoes in December boggled even the minds of seasoned meteorologists. Tornado experts tell us why the disaster was so deadly and the lessons we can learn from it. And after an 18-year run, Fox News anchor Chris Wallace is making a change. He's swapping to CNN's new streaming service to try something new. At least 3/4 of a Kentucky town are gone following that streak of deadly tornadoes that tore through the Midwest over the weekend. Determined recovery efforts are underway across multiple states. NTD's Jessica Beatty has the latest.
Kentucky's governor said Sunday he's hoping fewer people were killed by tornadoes Friday than initially estimated. That's because the owner of a decimated candle factory said more workers escaped the factory than first thought.
I am praying that maybe original estimates of those we've lost were wrong. If so, it's going to be pretty wonderful, but it's way too early.
Governor Beshear said Sunday that the state's death toll could exceed 100. He later said the figure might be as low as 50.
This is the deadliest tornado event we have ever had. I think it's going to be the longest and deadliest tornado event in U.S. history.
Overall, dozens of tornadoes hit several states Friday overnight, but one tornado remained on the ground for hundreds of miles. In addition to hitting the candle factory, the tornado also hit an Amazon distribution center in Illinois, killing at least 6 workers. Governor J.B. Pritzker visited the site.
The loss of life here is the most important immediate thing that we're here for, and of course the people who've been injured, but I think we're going to be recovering from this in central Illinois for really months to come.
The fire chief said there was a shift change going on and they don't know how many people were in the building, so it's unclear how many workers may be missing. Governor Pritzker said he spoke to Amazon.
I implored them to stand up for this community, to make sure that the families get whatever they need in this community, and they've offered to do so.
Amazon CEO Andy Jassy tweeted the company is heartbroken over the loss of its team members. Over in Arkansas, Governor Asa Hutchinson said a nursing home suffered the greatest damage.
As I went to that facility, it was like heaven sucked up the roof and all the contents of it, and it's just a miracle with 67 residents that we only lost 1 there.
Hutchinson says it could have been much worse if the response wasn't so quick.
Our warning system worked. There was at least 20 minutes warning sound where the residents were able to get into a more protected area.
On Sunday, President Biden declared a major federal disaster in Kentucky and pledged Saturday to support other affected states.
But I want to emphasize what I told all the governors. The federal government will do everything it can possibly do to help.
The emergency declaration allows FEMA to assist in the aftermath. Jessica Beatty, NTD News.
Those tornadoes ripped through about 6 states over the weekend. We hear more from the families of the victims. There were over 100 people working in a Kentucky candle factory when the facility was devastated on Friday night. The husband of a missing woman who works at that factory wants to know if she's safe.
And baby, please call me soon we get connected. Please call me. I'm looking for you, baby. We've been looking for you. Me, Tamara, the kid, we all looking for you right now.
Kentucky's landscape was rife with loss and destruction. One tornado made a path 200 miles long through the U.S. Midwest and South. Mayfield, Kentucky was at the epicenter of the destruction. Brittany Sullivan, who co-owns a prescription store, described the damage that the tornadoes caused.
But you couldn't access the area just because of the damage to the roads, to obviously all of the businesses. It looks like a war. I mean, like it just looks like bombs went off. And so we were able to get here yesterday. And fortunately for us, this is just our business that's been lost. We didn't lose our homes and we lost no employees.
At least 100 displaced people sought refuge in a church in Wingo, Kentucky. A Mayfield resident says the tornado wasn't like anything she's experienced in her life.
My friend Roberta was buried under 5 feet of rubble, and her sister was on top of her, and she's in Murray Hospital. And her husband's the one that came and saved her and her sister, and he saved other people from dying under there.
Another Kentucky survivor said the tornado killed her boyfriend when it leveled the candle factory where they worked. She recounts the horrific experience.
I looked up, I was on the floor in the hallway, and I looked up and I seen sky, and that's not normal at all. The whole building was just gone in shambles. There's people screaming, people trying to climb out, people who are crushed. One of my girls was crushed really bad.
Weather forecasters say these types of powerful twisters are unusual in the cooler months. Nevertheless, their onslaught has left survivors sifting through debris, including the daughter of a sailor looking for lost memorabilia.
Being a veteran of that many years, you have a lot of medals and things, and we were just trying to salvage what we can of that and of what was left, of the few things that we had left of our childhood.
And as Mayfield residents sift through the debris, one of them said all they can do is clean up and start again. We send our condolences to the families who lost loved ones. And now we hear more from two tornado experts. They analyzed what made the disasters so devastating and the lessons we can learn from it.
The timing of the tornadoes was highly unusual. One meteorologist says he's rarely seen anything like this in his 40-year career.
This is December. How is this happening in December? This is the kind of thing you would only see at the height of the season, March, April, May. I'd never seen anything like this this time of year.
Dr. Jeff Masters is also the co-founder of an online weather service. He attributed the heavy casualties partially to thunderstorms that occurred overnight.
The number one thing that made this so deadly is it happened at night. Can't see at night. And I mean, a lot of times people rely on a visual confirmation to go into shelter. But at night, you don't have that.
The second factor has to do with the superstorm that formed in northeast Arkansas.
I think the biggest cell in this outbreak was probably maybe a mile or two in diameter. So that means there's really no place to hide. I mean, it's so large and so powerful that even if you're in shelter, you're at danger of losing your life.
Masters says the seasonality of tornadoes is changing. So is the geographical areas they may affect. But there's a silver lining.
But one thing I might mention is there's no evidence yet that climate change is causing an increase in strong tornadoes. We have not seen the numbers to support that sort of thing happening. So that's some good news anyway.
Attention also turned to the warning systems in place. Experts wondered how communities and leaders can better interpret alerts and prepare for potentially deadly weather.
One of the lessons, it's taken a long time for meteorologists, I think, to understand this, is that there's, no matter how good our physical understanding and predictions are, there's a lot that happens beyond that.
Tornado expert Dr. Harold Brooks suggested introducing building safety rules to prevent extensive damage, because if buildings are not built well enough, there are no safe places to shelter. But he added that retrofitting existing weak structures isn't a viable option.
Retrofitting houses for tornado is hard. You'd have to take off all of the sheetrock and whatever the outer facing of your house is. So that's not a real easy thing. But certainly with new construction, it would help a lot.
He gave the example of the destroyed candle factory in Mayfield, Kentucky. 8 people were killed when a tornado destroyed the building where 110 employees were working.
The U.S. Navy has relieved a commander of his position over the military branch's vaccination mandate. Commander Lucian Kins served as the executive officer of destroyer ship USS Winston S. Churchill. Officials say Kins was relieved for failing to abide by lawful order. A Navy official told the U.S. Naval Institute that Kins was released from his post for refusing to get a COVID-19 vaccine and opting not to get tested for the disease. Kins was reportedly reassigned to the staff of Naval Surface Squadron 14. The Pentagon made COVID-19 shots mandatory for all U.S. service members in August. The Navy gave its staff until November to either request an exemption or get the vaccine. The news comes as at least 4 states have called in the National Guard in recent weeks. Indiana, New Hampshire, Maine, and New York brought the troops in to help cope with healthcare staffing issues. This is happening as some hospital and nursing home workers are being fired for not complying with vaccine mandates. As the year comes to a close, we take a look at some of the most significant events that have happened in 2021. Sadly, the international COVID death toll surpassed 5 million, and inflation in the U.S. rose to its highest rate in 39 years. Earlier, I spoke with Seth Radwell, the author of American Schism, to find out what he considers the biggest news story of 2021.
Oh, I definitely think Afghanistan is an important story because it symbolizes what the commitment of America is going to be going forward. But the global news story is, if you will, the rise of autocracy. So let me set it up this way for you, and again, in context. If the 20th century was largely a battle between the American liberal open form of government and first fascism and then communism, and the question was, could we defeat those other forms of government and have an open society? So if that were the challenge of the 20th century, I think the 21st century challenge seems to be between a battle between that same open society and autocracies, which are rising across the globe, whether it's in Xi's China or Putin's Russia or Erdogan's Turkey or Hungary or elsewhere or Brazil. These countries are moving more and more towards an illiberal society where an autocracy dictates rules.
While we're on the topic of just the year in review, what about Gamestop?
So that's a fascinating question about, markets and regulation and how markets work, whether it's, I think the biggest story even than GameStop is what's going on in crypto, and whether crypto is going to be a field where market intervention ends up becoming important, government intervention for fairness and for transparency. So I think the role of global stock markets and equities and securities and how they're traded freely but also openly with good information is a big question. And I think what's fascinating about GameStop is there are these, like with other trends that are spread digitally, there is this rumor mill almost is in digital media that tends to create trends that are sometimes devoid of reality or opposing the economics of a given company like GameStop. I think GameStop has shown that there's threats and opportunities, but the fluctuations in the stock are largely driven by speculative traders who are watching what people are saying in various social media forums.
New York State is implementing a temporary mask mandate effective this morning. Governor Kathy Hochul is bringing the indoor mask requirement back because of fears of a winter surge. New Yorkers will be required to wear a mask in all indoor public spaces unless businesses have a vaccine requirement. Anyone who violates the mask mandate could face fines of up to $1,000. The new mask mandate will remain in effect until at least January 15th, 2022. Veteran Fox News anchor Chris Wallace is joining CNN, specifically its new streaming service, CNN+. Wallace made the announcement Sunday, the same day he told Fox News viewers he was leaving the network effective immediately. Wallace was with Fox for 18 years, but reportedly chose not to renew his contract, saying he wanted to try something new beyond politics. CNN's president, Jeff Zucker, said Wallace is, quote, as fine a journalist as there is in our business. Wallace's new show will feature interviews with newsmakers, including those in business, sports, and pop culture. CNN Plus is expected to start streaming early next year. Just ahead, a memorial was held for a shooting victim in Chicago's Chinatown. The suspect is under arrest. And California Governor Gavin Newsom is drafting a new gun control law. He says the unique proposal is modeled after a Texas abortion rule, which bypasses legal hurdles by letting citizens enforce the rule instead of the state. Learn more in just a moment.
You worked hard for your money. You invest in stability for your retirement and your family's future, to build and leave them with something greater. The next unprecedented financial crisis, political misstep, or unstable government can depreciate it all away. It was called the gold standard for a reason, the financial preservation of tomorrow. Diversify your assets against inflation, market volatility, and the unknown with real money. Hedge your wealth with the purest form of money, physical gold and silver. Because any currency printed on paper can be manipulated. What's backing up your IRA? Do what you need to do right now to be prepared with the Reagan Gold Group. Visit now, rggusakit.com, or call us at 866-912-1384. Receive up to $2,500 in free silver coins and a free safe with your new precious metals IRA. Call now.
The ongoing supply chain crisis? Big tech and other woke companies giving billions to the liberal left? Where will you shop for Christmas? Go to Mammoth Nation. We created a safe place for patriots to spend their money for Christmas and beyond. Shop thousands of products from American and veteran-owned businesses. Shop to the right, give to the right. This is how we fight tyranny. Go to MammothNation.com right now and become a lifetime member today. Use promo code EPIC and save 30%.
California is planning a new gun control law modeled after a strict abortion ban in Texas. The proposed law would let private citizens sue manufacturers, sellers, or distributors of assault weapons for at least $10,000 per violation. It's based on a Supreme Court ruling which allows Texas abortion restrictions to stay in place. The Texas law avoids normal legal challenges by enabling private citizens to enforce the rule instead of state officials. The law allows Texans to sue anyone who helps a woman get an abortion after 6 weeks of pregnancy. California Governor Gavin Newsom said he would work with legislators to draft a gun control proposal that takes a similar, citizen-based approach. Newsom says his efforts will be used to protect people's lives. California has banned the manufacture and sale of many assault-style weapons for decades, but a federal judge deemed the ban unconstitutional. It was overturned in June. Last week, the Chicago Chinese community was hit by an execution-style shooting. The devastated community expressed their deep concern about the community's safety in a prayer vigil. Viewers may find some of the footage disturbing.
Last Friday evening, the Chicago Chinatown community held a prayer vigil to mourn the death of 71-year-old Woom Sing Tse. He was gunned down on a sidewalk last Tuesday.
He worked so hard as a restaurant owner, took so much pride in treating everyone with respect. His customers called him family. I'm so grateful to be his daughter, and I'll miss him dearly.
The spokesperson expressed concerns for the community's safety, highlighting the fear of parents and students alike during a nearby school's lockdown.
We're in the shadows of Haynes School, and some on the recess and some in the classrooms heard the shots. They're afraid and confused and wondering why this drill wasn't ending. And so it angers that our kids are traumatized.
The deadly shooting took place in broad daylight last Tuesday. Tse was walking home on the sidewalk across from Haynes Elementary School. The suspect fired multiple shots at Tse.
At which point this offender gets out of the vehicle, walks up to the sidewalk, stands over Mr. C, and then immediately fires several more rounds into his body, causing his death.
With the help of community surveillance video footage, police identified the suspect's license plate on the vehicle and arrested him an hour after the incident. The 23-year-old suspect, Alfonso Joyner, has multiple prior arrests, 2 for gun offenses.
Right now we're unsure of the motive, but we're exploring all possibilities. It does not appear to be a robbery, nor does it appear to be gang-related, so it is possible that it was a hate crime. Right now we're looking at it as just a random crime without explanation.
Police charged Joyner with first-degree murder. Cook County Judge Mariam Ahmad denied any bail for Joyner. Police are still investigating the cause of the shooting. Tse is survived by his wife, children, and grandchildren.
2 Texas Democrats are in the hot seat. They're at the center of 2 separate yet similar disputes tied to government contracts worth millions of dollars. The controversy zooms in on Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner and Harris County Judge Lena Hidalgo. Accusers say the Houston-based officials awarded their contracts to businesses tied to politics. Corruption accusations first hit Mayor Turner after he granted a $15 million housing contract to the Harbor Venture Group, a developer led by Turner's former law partner. He reportedly decided against staff recommendations, choosing Harbor Venture Group over several other options. At the same time, the Judge Hidalgo is dealing with accusations over an $11 million vaccine outreach contract awarded to Elevate Strategies. Democratic political insider Felicity Perea leads the company, which until recently she ran single-handedly. Elevate Strategies won the contract over major hospital UT Health. Those in charge of deciding answered directly to Hidalgo. Both officials deny wrongdoing. Each case represents a first-degree felony carrying a possible sentence of 5 years to life in prison. Neither have been charged yet. Just weeks before the new year, data shows that at least 12 U.S. cities have hit new annual murder records. Philadelphia saw 528 murders this year. That figure tops the previous record of 500 set in 1990. The city's homicide rate is now 4 times higher than that of last year. Other major cities that broke their homicide records in 2021 include Portland, Rochester, Louisville, and St. Paul. These cities saw days of protests and riots. That's after George Floyd's death sparked national unrest in May 2020. Chicago is still leading the country with more than 730 homicides by the end of November. Nationwide, homicides rose about 30% in 2020 compared to the previous year, the biggest one-year spike since the FBI started keeping these records. Criminologists have blamed the surge on lax bail laws, conflicts following the George Floyd riots, large numbers of police officers quitting and retiring, and other reasons. Police in the small town of Philomath, Oregon, say they nabbed 5 individuals engaged in illegal marijuana production. Police Chief Ken Rubin says the individuals may be connected to a Chinese organized crime group based in New York. According to Rubin, law enforcement discovered through a search warrant about 4,000 illegal marijuana plants. They grew in a 5,000-square-foot warehouse. There were generators and other devices used to control temperature and humidity. Officers say high electricity bills and a vehicle registration led to the raid. The investigation involved multiple police departments and was aided by FBI interpreters. Albany police told the Epoch Times that this was their second operation associated with the Chinese criminal enterprise. All 5 suspects face felony charges associated with possession, delivery, and unlawful manufacturing of marijuana. A Texas jury awarded over $300 billion to the family of 2 people killed by a drunk driver. This marks the largest personal injury settlement in U.S. history. The crash occurred in November 2017. 59-year-old Tamra K. Kindred and her teenage daughter were killed, along with the drunk driver. The Kindred family later sued Beer Belly's Sports Bar, where the drunk driver was drinking that night. The suit alleged that the bar overserved him. A court this week ordered compensation from the bar. While the sum is enormous, it's only symbolic. The victim's family doesn't expect to receive any money as the bar went out of business. Their attorney said the ruling was meant to send a message about the consequences of drunk driving. Time magazine has named Elon Musk Person of the Year. The CEO of Tesla and SpaceX became the world's richest person in 2021 and impacted life on Earth and beyond. Time has named a Person of the Year since 1927. This year, Time did not release a short list of contenders for the spot. The streets of New York are dancing with lights as the city celebrates the holidays. Manhattan's Fifth Avenue Association has decorated 9 city blocks with holiday art installations. The illuminated sculptures include a taxicab and a toy box. Department stores are continuing their tradition of creative and innovative window displays. Bloomingdale's teamed up with singer BB Rexha to debut its Give Happy Holiday campaign. 6 colorful windows can be seen at their flagship store on Lexington Avenue. Luxury retailer Bergdorf Goodman is celebrating the holidays with the theme The Present Moment. The retailer's display depicts frozen moments in time, such as a vibrant piano party and a whimsical scene from outer space. Miss India Harnaz Sandhu received the winning crown at the 70th Miss Universe Beauty Pageant. The competition was in Israel's port city, Eilat. Israel had said it would host the contest in the Red Sea resort despite imposing pandemic travel restrictions. Contestants toured various sites in Israel in the weeks leading up to the pageant. Those include Christianity's most sacred church, the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, and Judaism's holiest prayer site, the Western Wall. The Israeli Ministry of Tourism and Travel restrictions limited the number of media and fans attending the pageant. Monday ushers in a celebration worthy of the winter holidays. It's National Cocoa Day. December 13th is a perfect time to warm up your holiday celebrations with a steaming cup of hot chocolate with marshmallows on top. The Mayans get the credit for creating the first chocolate beverage around 2,000 years ago. While the drink is often thought of as purely a dessert, cocoa does have health benefits. Nutritionists say it contains antioxidants and flavonoids, good for heart health and even preventing cancer. And if you're looking for another way to celebrate National Cocoa Day, add a teaspoon or two of your favorite chocolate to a cup of coffee this morning. Stargazers are in for a treat tonight. The Germani's meteor shower is set to light up the sky, named after the Gemini constellation, where they originate. The Gemenins produce some of the best and most reliable shooting stars. For optimal viewing, get as far away from the city lights as possible. It's also best if you wait until 2 a.m. because the moon is more than 3/4 full and it will begin setting around 2 in the morning. The Germans are known to produce more than 50 meteors per hour from the rock comet 3200 Phaethon. If you can stay up that late, simply look up and enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. At NTD, we're honored to be your source for the news. Catch us again tonight at 6:30 Eastern. In New York City, I'm Kevin Hogan.
Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Did you know YouTube only keeps selective videos on its platform? So if you want to make sure you get the full picture, just subscribe to our newsletter. Go to newsletter.ntd.com and sign up. It's free.